There was a story many years ago that I heard, and the stories, the elders that some of them told, there was 49 warriors that were, or 40 or 50 warriors that were at the camp one time. But there was more warriors. This was a long time ago, and some of the warriors that went out hunting, they couldn't find anything to bring back home. So some of the some of the warriors, some of them, they came back and said, we can't find any elk or deer. We can't find rabbits or anything like that. And the warriors, and then the warrior council, the chiefs got together, and sometimes the warriors, they'd go out and look for other villages that were close by, because they would go out and sometimes they would raid the village for all the things that they needed, and because they had more. And the warriors got together and said, we need to go out and probably we need a raiding party so we can come back with the food. And some of the villagers had a lot more to give, and the warriors went out. The chiefs told them, what we need to do is go out, and we need to find a village that has more of what they got, like elk meat, deer meat, maybe some dried fruits and stuff like that. So the chiefs decided that 50 warriors should go out, and they all got together and got the best warriors that they had, and they finally agreed. There was 50 warriors that went out, that's supposed to go out and gather, raid other villages, and bring back what they got from the villages. So they send out the 50 warriors. They each had a song, though. They each had a war song that they had to sing on the way out. And each one of the warriors sang their song. And there was one warrior that had to memorize all these songs that they had sing. But they traveled for days before they came to a village. But that village wasn't, they didn't have anything, because they sent in a scout to check out what they had. And they didn't have much. So the warrior came back and told the other warriors that village didn't have that much food, or that they didn't gather too much fruits or vegetables from the ground that they had planted. So they went on, and they traveled on for another 2 or 3 days, and finally they came to a big village, and they were still singing the warrior song that they had to sing. And then one warrior had to memorize all these songs that they were singing. And hopefully they were praying, and hopefully they'll go back to the village without no loss of their own warriors. But this village was pretty equipped with all the warriors they had, and finally the warriors done their prayer, and they burned their sage, they burned their cedar, and each one of them had war paint on them. The 50 warriors had war paint on them. So the following morning, they all got ready. They painted the horses, they painted themselves again, because the night before they had sing their songs again for the for the raid on this village, and most of the warriors were there. So when they went down into the village, to get the food that their village needed. They were met with a lot of warriors, and then a big skirmish went out, and they were fighting, hoping to out outwar the warring tribe, and they couldn't do it. Many of the warriors they fell. Some of them were wounded. Some of them kind of backed off, but they went back in charging again because their village needed the food. And each one fell. By the time it got toward the evening time, many of the warriors were down, and they told one warrior to go back. I don't think we're going to make it this day, they said. And when that happened, all the warriors fell because there were so many warriors on the other side that they couldn't handle it. But they told one warrior to go back, the one that had memorized all the songs. Then finally he stood on the hill looking back at the village, and his warriors were all the warriors except one warrior. 49 warriors had died that day. So he turned around and looked. He said, "This was a bad day to choose the wrong village." So he went back. He traveled for days singing the songs that he had memorized. He sang and sang the songs that they had sang to him. And his heart was so sad that he sang his own war death too, his own song of dying, and that song became his war song. So almost a week went by. He finally got to the village, and he told his chiefs what had happened. And he told them that they had sang 50 songs, hoping that they would come back, hoping that he wouldn't have to sing those 49 songs that they sang to him. And he had one song. So the chief, the following day, they came in and they blessed him. And the chief and all the villagers, they were crying and mourning for the 49 warriors. Finally, the chief told him that he needs to sing those 49 songs that the warriors gave to him to sing when he came back if they didn't make it. So it took him most of the day to sing the 49 songs that the warriors had sang. And finally, he was done toward the evening, and everybody was crying. And he told the chiefs that, "I'm sorry that I had to come back." And the chiefs, they agreed that he had done a good deed, though, for his tribe. So finally, he sang his song too, and which is a sad song. And he sang it. And the chiefs all gathered around him, and he kept singing. ending. And sometimes it's all the chiefs gave him a good blessing with that at the end was the blessing that he had received from the chief. And that day that he grew older, the chiefs blessed him and he became one of the chiefs. And the story goes on. And the songs remain the same after all these years. Each tribe, sometimes they sing those 49 songs, and it's a blessing to hear. And it's good that we sing them songs. Sometimes we sing them in remembrance of those 49 warriors.